Hello, Leg over here. Today we're back on F1 2020, and today we're here in a league race around Austria. We're in FOCC XRL, and it is the fourth round of the season. We're in qualifying right now, 7 minutes to go in the session, and we're still yet to do a lap. So we're on our out lap right now, and the lap that we're going to do right here, it's not going to be a particularly good lap. We're just trying to get a lap in without invalidating, so we don't start from last or anything. So as we start our flying lap, activate the DRS. It's going to be a very cautious lap. We're not trying to invalidate. Going into turn 1, using the outside curb, we go very cautious on the inside curb though, which is not ideal. We get a nice slipstream from the Haas, which gains us a little bit of time into the hairpin. Overall, nice braking, slight lockup, but it's okay. Activating the DRS, going down this straight. Turn 4, pretty tricky with the braking, and we're gonna take it pretty easy here. No lockup, no anything. It's all good. Into this section, it's pretty tricky, but we're going to take it very carefully so that we don't invalidate the lap, and then we can always go for another lap and push much harder. Through into the penultimate corner now. It's a very tricky corner to get right without invalidating, and we barely use any of the track on the outside, which definitely lost us a lot of time. And the lap is a 1 minute 4.1, which is super slow compared to what I was doing normally, which is my best was a 1 minute 2.9. But now we're going to head on to our push lap. We're gonna push the track a lot more since we have an actual lap in at this stage. Going into turn 1, we already gained a slight amount of time, but it wasn't the best turn 1. Into turn 3, we set a purple first sector. Into the hairpin, pretty good braking, and we don't wheel spin or oversteer under traction, which is good. Into turn 4, very tricky braking, like I said before. Pretty easy to lock up as it's downhill, and we actually lock up slightly, but it's not like we missed the corner, so it's all good. Into here, it's so important to push the track limits, or else you'll just be so slow through here. Using all of the outside curb to open up your entry to this section of corners here, and then using all of that curb on the right on the exit. Through this corner, you're about to see here that we just push a little bit too hard, and we invalidate the lap twice actually. So a lap where we were 8/10 up, we end up invalidating, and that might mean that we might lose out on pole, but in the end we don't. 2/10 slower is Kimi in P2. You can see the qualifying results there. We got a bit lucky because the lap wasn't great, but we managed to get pole anyway. The strategy is going to be soft to medium, and plus 2 laps of fuel, like I like to do always in my races. Trying to warm up the tires on this formation lap. They were quite cold at the start of this formation lap, so we've got to work them a lot, work all tires to get temperature. Now we're lining up on the grid, and you can see there's an Alpha Tauri all the way back on the minimap who he actually purposefully went slowly so that everyone else's tires would absolutely freeze. I mean, fair play, I guess. You gotta do what you gotta do. But we're here on the start now. 5 red lights. It's the lights out and let's go racing, and we get an initially good start, but Kimi gets a much better second phase of acceleration, but he's not able to get the move done. And we stick through at turn 1, but look at the minimap, there's been a massive crash at turn 1. 2 cars out, the safety car has been deployed, and we immediately decide to box this lap for the medium compound of tire. The mediums can easily make it to the end, so we're definitely going to take that strategy. It might be a risk that might not pay off, but we're going to do it anyway, because it's essentially a free pit stop. Even if it does put us at the back of the grid, we're going to gain so much time from it, hopefully. It could backfire, but it's not likely, and so we're going to stick with that strategy. The safety car is actually at the turn 2 kink on the straight here on the track. You can see it on the minimap stopped on the side, waiting for the leader to catch up to it. You can see we're just confirming to box this lap, and we fake a move to stay out, and we go into the pit last minute. So we're a bit unpredictable there. Into the pit box, we don't have to push it too hard under safety car. No need to get a careless penalty for speeding. The pit stop is decent, 2.6 seconds. It's not like we lost any time getting held, because only a couple more people went in the pits actually. Well, just disposable Stu, I think. But everyone ahead of us has not made a pit stop, but we're going to catch up anyway because we're under safety car. So we basically gained a free pit stop in this race. And you know, when I was thinking about it, I thought some people just stopped on the side of the track. Will you take those free positions? As I was saying, when I was about to pit, I thought it might be a risk, but I was going to take that risk anyway, because even if the mediums couldn't make it easily, I was ready to do tire saving, which is why I'm not working the tires too much on this safety car lap, because I don't want to wear them unnecessarily by just weaving about and trying to get temperature into them. But onto the restart now. Tires are pretty good up to temperature, but we're restarting and I'm like mid-corner at the final corner, so it was very awkward for me during that restart, and yeah, we got a terrible restart. But into turn 1, we actually end up cutting the corner and getting our first warning, which is not great on lap 4, but we move. Into turn 3, there's a lot of people looking for overtakes here. We look for an overtake on our teammate Bottas's AI, but we can't get it done because we weren't close enough. We had a little look, but it wasn't enough to make a move. We set a purple sector 1 though, 2/10 to Bottas. We have a look down the inside, but we're just braking early to make sure that we don't go into the back of him, because we know we can take our time with pretty much everyone who we need to overtake, because no one in front of us has made a pit stop, and we make a move on Bottas quite quickly and easily there. Ahead now we have Giovinassi's AI and then Russell's AI ahead of him. Into the penultimate corner, we're going pretty easy through here, but we still managed to get a warning, which is not great. So we've gotten 2 warnings on 1 lap, so that's not ideal at this stage of the race. Into turn 1 once again, taking it quite cautiously as we do most of the race, because we want to take our time with this traffic. And oftentimes, as we nearly run into the back of Russell trying to overtake Giovinazzi, we just about keep it clean. But as I was saying, oftentimes when trying to battle the AI in online sessions, they can often be quite sketchy and unpredictable, and that was especially apparent in this race. So we're just taking it easy, not forcing any moves that we don't need to force, and we're just gonna let the moves come to us, kind of. And we don't want wing damage, of course. One slight misjudgment and that's your race out the window. So that's not what we want, so we'll just take our time here. Out of the final corner, we're using the overtake and the ridge mix. Russell's gonna go defensive to the inside, so we're going to go to the outside of the corner, and we're going to get the move done nice and clean. Activate the DRS and possibly go for a move on Magnussen into turn 3. We might be too far away, but no, we're not. We go for a dive bomb and we make it work. We get the better exit out of the corner. We have the DRS, and that is the move done. Quite a big send from all the way back there, but we managed to get it anyway. Into turn 4, exiting turn 4 now. Leclerc is ahead of us. 3/10 is what the gap is to Leclerc. a 9/10, then to Albon, well now 8/10, as we head out of Sector 2 into Sector 3. There's not really many overtaking opportunities in Sector 3. You could possibly overtake into this corner, but you have to be very close and pretty much side by side before you're going into the corner if you want to even have a chance of getting past. But a chance that we have at getting past here is around the outside of turn 1, just like we did to Russell. We do it to Leclerc, nice and clean, once again, and that's the move. Job done. Ahead is now Albon, and ahead of Albon is Sainz, and we have to brake quite a lot there to avoid going into the back of Albon. I had a little thought about going for a move, but I was too far away, so I didn't do it. Yellow flags at turn 3. Maybe someone's gone off. But we're going to go around the outside of Albon, but he ends up making contact with us, unfortunately, and nearly sends us into a spin. Which I'm not sure why, because I left him plenty of space on the inside, but that's just one example of the AI being a little bit sketchy sometimes. But into Sector 3, penultimate corner. Gonna take it quite easy. With the dirty air, it's easy to go out wide. And we have a massive run on Albon onto the main straight. We nearly go into the back of him with how much overspeed he had. We're going to go down the inside at turn 1. He's lagging all over the place, but we get the move done regardless. And now we have Sainz ahead of us. I don't think we'll be close enough to make a move into turn 3. Maybe turn 4 is possible. We have a look down the inside at turn 3 actually. We're side by side with him, but he gets the better exit because we have to take all of that inside curb. But now we have such a better run onto the straight. He's giving us the big squeeze into turn 4. We're going to go around the outside, and we've nearly been spun round. He's just driven into the side of us. He's nearly taken us out of this race. I'm not sure what that was, but we left him plenty of room on the inside. He just pretty much drove into the side of us, and our race was nearly ruined there. Luckily, we were able to catch the spin. We were pretty much opposite lock for the entire corner, which definitely scared me a little bit, but we managed to pass him, and I don't want to be behind that AI anymore during this race, if that's going to happen. You might have seen on the position counter that Kimi has gone into the pits. He's going to be going on to the medium, as no one in front of us had made their pit stop yet. In front of us, we've got 2 AI, Raikkonen and Gasly. We've made more overtakes on AI than actual players in this race, which I find interesting. And Raikkonen's giving us the big squeeze on the inside, but we're going to try and go for a move into turn 4. We go down to the inside, we're the last of the late breakers, and we get the move done. And now ahead we have Gasly, and ahead of him, leading this race currently, is Bulldozer. Going through towards the end of Sector 2. We're setting 2 green sectors, so it's not been a bad lap, but at the same time we haven't been in clean air for a single lap, so it's not really a good way to judge our pace at the moment, because we're probably losing at least a second per lap in this traffic. But now we're going to try and go for a move on Gasly. We had so much overspeed going onto the straight. We're going to go around the outside at turn 1, but we make contact, and I'm not sure what happened there. Yellow flags. We made a bit of contact. Probably could have left him a bit more space, and luckily we didn't send him into the wall or into a full spin. We sent him into a half spin, which is still a bit questionable, but I probably should have left him a bit more space on the inside. But we move into turn 4. We're now 7.4 seconds behind, or 7.5 seconds behind Bulldozer, who's actually got a 10-second time penalty in the lead, and he still has to make his pit stop. So we're not really pushing track limits. There's no need to get a penalty at this stage, because that'll just be a burden to our race through the penultimate corner, turn 10, through the final corner, turn 11, I believe, as we finish off lap 10. We're 2/10 down on our time. But now is when we finally get to show our true pace as we're in clean air. But we actually skip on to the end of lap 11 as we get a penalty, which is quite unfortunate. We do set the fastest lap by over a second, so we were definitely pushing on that lap as we just go wide, missing our braking point, and we go wide onto the escape runoff area. But as I was saying, we were definitely pushing that lap, but we just pushed a little bit too hard and ended up getting a penalty. But moving on to lap 14 now, this is where we set another fastest lap, and I'll guide you through this lap into turn 1. Hard to spot your braking point when you're absolutely blinded by the sun, but we managed to do so anyway. Down this straight, it's all about keeping the smoothest line possible into turn 3. Brake as late as possible. It's uphill, so you can brake much later than you might think. Short shift into third to avoid wheel spinning under traction. Down into turn 4, much like the straight before. Just keep it smooth into this tricky braking zone, which is downhill, so it's very easy to lock up. Traction isn't as difficult, but this section is definitely pretty technical. You have to use all of the curb on the outside to open up your entry into this corner. You have to get your line perfectly right if you want to maximize the time gained. Into the penultimate corner, use the outside curb and the inside curb, and use the exit curb once again. We get a warning on that occasion. We get another warning, but we don't get a penalty. And that is the fastest lap by 2.6 tenths of a second. Once again into turn 1, absolutely blinded by the sun. It was a bit annoying during the race. It was difficult to spot the braking point there because it was so sunny, but we managed to do it during the race. On to the final lap. Nothing much else really happened in this race. Disposable Stu ended up getting P2, and Bulldozer ended up bringing his race back to P3 after making his pit stop. But we're going to head through the final couple of corners. It's been an overall good race for us here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, and we claim our 3rd victory of the season. Great race overall, and I'm pretty happy with that result. So yeah, overall clean race. Alexander Albon gets driver of the day. Not sure what he did, but I'm pretty sure driver of the day is about who makes the most overtakes. So I guess good job to the AI. We grab the trophy and we celebrate victory. Overall, great race by all 3 of the podium sitters. We all 3 had the pace to keep up for the podium. Disposable Stu P2 and Bulldozer P3, like I said. So you can see the race results here. We take our 3rd victory of the season. Guys, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I post F1 2020 content multiple times per week if that's something you're interested in. We've got a couple very exciting races coming your way soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.